When something does go wrong, the results can be devastating. In just seconds, airplanes can be lost and lives irrevocably changed. What you've just witnessed is a rare occurrence, but unforgettable for those who survive it. As this single-seat FA-18 Hornet traps, the arresting cable stretches to the breaking point. When it breaks, the jet quickly disappears over the side and into the water. Training saves the pilot, who ejects immediately. This yellow shirt miraculously jumps the cable as it whips under him, not once, but twice. Other well-trained crew members are not so lucky. As the cable snaps back, it takes out everything in its path. 7 crew members are seriously injured. 3 in critical condition are immediately evacuated by helicopter. Few aboard will ever forget this grim episode. No matter how resolute sailors focus during training, that focus intensifies when a carrier enters a war zone where the stakes are even higher. Manama, Bahrain is a commercial port on the Persian Gulf and base of the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet. 5th Fleet forces are supporting American troops on the ground in Iraq. At all times, the lineup includes a Nimitz Class Carrier. After a fast crossing of the Atlantic and Mediterranean, the USS George Washington has reached the Gulf with her carrier strike group to join a larger force already in place.
The George Washington Carrier Strike Group left Norfolk. It left with a certain number of ships, aircraft, and people. When we show up over here, we then become part of the theater commander's menu, so to speak, that he can push around the theater as he sees the need. We can pull them all together and operate as a carrier strike group. That's how we train, that's how we worked up. Or we can put those pieces where they're most needed.
327 Airborne goes to Marshall.
GW has sailed into harm's way. With the U.S. fighting in Iraq, the Persian Gulf is part of a war zone. This ordnance is live, and the carrier's pilots are about to put it to work. Down below, crew members prepare weapons in one of GW's 44 magazines. These specialists have spent a year learning to work with explosive devices, like these 1,000-pound bombs. Teams use hand tools to avoid stripping threads that would keep them from diffusing unused ordnance carried back from a bombing run. Down here, a bomb only gets one of its fuse elements. Final triggering devices go into place at planeside. These weapons travel between magazines and flight deck in 2 different elevators, reserved for ordnance. Should fire or explosions occur on deck, this system keeps flames from reaching the magazines. On the flight deck, ordnance specialists join an air wing support crew to arm a plane. They work quickly, but with absolute concentration. There is no margin for slackness. No one wants a bomb coming loose in the middle of a launch. Once specialists install the final triggering mechanisms, the pilot can take off. Towering Rising 80 feet above the flight deck of a Nimitz Class Carrier stands the island. This superstructure mounts dishes of avionics systems that scan for planes, missiles, and surface craft, friendly or hostile. Beneath the radar arrays, crews and gear fill 3 control rooms. On the flag bridge, the admiral and staff coordinate the battle group. Above on the main bridge, the carrier's captain and his command crew control the ship. The topmost bridge, primary flight control, is where the air boss works.
On the flight deck, stand clear of the port catwalk, stand clear of the bow line, stand by to recover aircraft. Paddles, lenses on, you have control.
This area up here we call tower or primary flight control. And the mini boss, Commander Dave Fox, and myself, Commander John Sheehan, our job is to ensure the safe launch and recovery of the aircraft.
305.
The mini boss is in charge of the forward part of the ship, so launching off the bow. And my main responsibility is the aft part of the ship, catching them and then launching off the waist. But both of us sort of back each other up, keep our scan going, looking for anything that's abnormal. In about an hour, we'll launch our next cycle and then catch our next cycle. But we're sending aircraft over the beach with precision-guided bombs. They're talking to our troops on the ground there. So each hour and a half, we'll launch a new cycle and catch the next cycle.
As pilots prepare to take off, flight directors or shooters adjust the carrier's catapults, custom tailoring each launch. A few feet from the plane's path, an armored bubble shields Lieutenant Commander Stephen Schmidt.
Attention, good stuff, good vehicles, I found middle winds across. Combat. Salute. 450, we're clear forward, legs, winds cross, thumbs. Watch track, fire. I'm Lieutenant Commander Stephen Schmidt. I'm one of the shooters here on the ship. We're the last check in all the safety concerns of getting the aircraft in the air. Everything from whether the aircraft is safe for flight to the catapult being safe to launch them. We had 4 qualified catapult and arresting gear officers on board. We rotate through the positions so we stay sharp.
Another shooter, Lieutenant Commander Dave Larson, works the flight deck.
My ultimate job is the safety and responsibility of launching and recovering all 15 aircraft. Must stop here. Okay? If we have mishap, and it's a safety-related mishap, that's my fault.
Pilots depend on shooters, and shooters depend on the flight crew.
And what he's doing here is bringing me the weight of the aircraft. It's in thousands of pounds. The heavier the aircraft, the more power I have to give them from the catapult. And I control that setting right here with my capacity selector valve setting. I go to the tables for that, and it gives me a predetermined opening rate of that launch valve, and that's how much steam goes through the launching cylinders for the catapult. Now they're double checking me below decks to make sure I'm using my charts correctly. It's a system where if I screw it up, they'll catch it below, and it doesn't happen. And I like to take pride in what I'm doing here, and I get it right the first time, but just in case, they're checking me below decks. Just passing him the expected end speed so the pilot knows what to expect when he comes off the end of the cat.
What I'm looking for when I'm ready to shoot, I'll make sure the valve's clear. I'll give him the hook sign. The guy will hook it. This guy is going to go. He'll take tension. He'll give it to me. I'll turn him up. When he gives me a salute, I'll go. Check my bow safety, make sure we're clear. Check it, 2 hands up, half second, thumbs up, and we'll fly.
Amid this deadly bustle, shooters on deck and in the bubble must stay on constant alert.
It's a stressful environment by nature, but it's a managed stress. So we get them in there pretty quickly when we have all 4 cats going. I can usually get them about 20 to 30 seconds apart that way.
Shooters must calculate precisely.
Thumbs, head steady, clear track.
Too much power, and the catapult could rip off a plane's landing gear. Too little, and a cold shot could send the plane plummeting into the sea, perhaps dooming its crew.